Yo, 2005 Saturn Vue with a 2.2 Echo. They're complaining about low to no heat. It's about 1 below outside. It's got a check engine light, and this is the code. Anytime I see that code on one of these, I just attack the thermostat. It's usually got a thermostat that's opening too soon. Anytime you get one of those codes on one of these Saturns too, this coolant fan just goes crazy full high all the time when it's running. It's always on. So that's pretty much a dead giveaway right there that that's the code and that's going to be my problem. The thermostat on these Echoes are underneath the exhaust manifold. There's Cavaliers and Saturns and stuff too that pretty much have the same exact design. I got to get this heat shield off so I can get at the thing. There's usually 3 bolts on it. This one's missing. Sometimes it's rusted off. These are 13 millimeters. There's just 2 of them on here now. When you're doing the job, this thing likes to do a nice big coolant dump. So I'm going to try to get out as much as the coolant as I can before I take that thermostat out. Pretty much all got to come out of here. This thing has an aftermarket trailer hitch on it for RV towing. Somebody put that on there. And the drain plug is right here. It's got like 2 flats on it. And this tow hitch is kind of in my way. So I got one of these jobbies. I just got the biggest screwdriver, regular screwdriver head I could find. I'm going to try to get it off with that. I see they got a little AC compressor leak too. Somebody put dye oil in this thing. Come summer, if they want their air conditioning, they might need one of those. We'll see. Just going to turn this counterclockwise until this thing starts losing fluid. It's coming out nice and slow. Now I'm going to take the radiator cap off of the overflow and it should start pouring out of here. It's pretty much all drained out. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes and then I'm going to close that back up. I'm under the truck and there's one more drain plug that I can utilize to try to make less of a mess of this thing. That's the water pump right there. Water pump, and if you look on the bottom, that rusty bolt, that's a 13 millimeter drain plug. I can get up here with a 13 millimeter swivel socket and a long extension. I got my 3-foot extension on here and I'm gonna bust this thing loose. I cracked that bolt loose. Now I'm gonna get in here with just have a 13 millimeter ratcheting wrench. There we go. This thing does have a sealing washer on it. It's kind of stuck on there with this groove. And there's thread sealant on it too. I'm going to seal this plug back up before I put it back in. I got some PTFE thread sealant. I like using this. Coat the threads with that really good. This gasket is really what seals it really well. It's not tapered pipe, it's just a straight thread, so using thread sealant doesn't do a really good job, but it's better than nothing. I got that PTFE on there. Now I'm going to put some PTFE thread tape over that, just because that's how I roll. I'm going to put it on here really tight. Just a couple of wraps, and then I can jam that back in the hole after it gets done dripping. I'd say that's done dripping enough. I'm going to throw this back in the hole. If you really want to put a torque on that, I'd say do it about 22 to 25 foot-pounds. That's just a guess. I don't think you're going to find a torque spec on it. Most of the time when I do these, I actually do them from the top. I don't do them from the bottom. I have a hoist though, so it's easy for me. And like when I used to just have to do this on a garage floor and I didn't have a lift, I would just put a drain pan under the car, the biggest drain pan I could find, and just take the thing out and let it go all over the place. But I like to try not to make a mess, so I'm just kind of doing it this way. I just have two 10 millimeters left to take off on this. I'm just going to use a wrench. They're not that tight. They're like 8 foot-pounds. Now that I got both of them bolts out, this whole housing comes out with the pipe on the water pump. And I'm just going to get in here with a pry bar and just on it and try to loosen it up a little bit, like so. Then I can get in here with a screwdriver, just pry it open. This has obviously been replaced once before because there's gasket sealant all over it. And that's as far as I can get it. And then I should be able to just turn this pipe just to kind of try to loosen it up a little bit and get this thing out of the water pump. It comes out with the whole pipe. And then inside here, there should be a piece of plastic in here that's holding this thermostat in. I can just get in here with a screwdriver again and get behind the thermostat. Try to pop this thing out. Yeah, right. My mother's uncle. Tap on it a little bit. Try to loosen it up. There it goes. There's a plastic sleeve in here with the thermostat. Come on out of there. This thing's really stuck in here. I don't know why. There it comes. I talked to the person I got this car from, asking him what the heck's going on with this thing. Apparently this came from down south. Somebody literally drilled a hole in the thermostat, probably try to keep it cool for some reason. And yeah, it came apart because it's got rubber around this to seal it, and these are actually really cheap. I went to O'Reilly's and called them, and they said they have another one for $14, and it was the same kind. And I'm not putting that in there, and that's the only one that they could get. So I called Napa Knows Something. And this is the part number I got. It's a safety stat, and this is what belongs in there. There's no rubber in here to blow out and break. These last about 6 months. You might get a year or two out of them if you're super lucky. So I'm going to use this thermostat. I got a gasket for it. Put that on there, make sure it's on really nice. Then I have some silicone paste. I'm going to put that on the seal because I want it to slide in there really nice and I don't want it to fold over on me. So I'm just going to lube that up really good, just a little bit. And then this O-ring, you can buy an O-ring kit that's got these two O-rings and then this O-ring that goes in a groove in the block. I'm going to reuse these O-rings though because they were replaced not too long ago and they seem really nice. This had a bunch of gasket sealant on it in the groove, and I cleaned it out as best as I could. You don't really need anything on this. As long as it's clean, it's going to seal really nice. I'm going to put some silicone paste on this so it slides in really nice. And I already cleaned the housing a little bit. You can use emery cloth on the housing that this goes into if you want. I just wiped it down really good. This one never came out, so I'm not taking it out. I'm leaving it in there, and it should not leak. And then this I really don't have to put anything on, and I'm going to stick this in the groove in the block. Now this crazy seal on this thermostat might annoy the hell out of you because it likes to roll over. It doesn't like to stay in. There's a groove in here, that little notch, and I can feel the notch right here. It's down on the bottom. So of course I want the cold side facing out, hot side facing in. And I'm just going to try to stick this thing in here without it folding over on me. It feels like that's right. Put the O-ring on. That thing's kind of a joke too. Don't want to stay really good. So yeah, don't be surprised if this doesn't annoy the out of you. I'm gonna try to fish this thing in here somehow. I got it in the hole. Now I just gotta turn it to try to get it lined up. Like I said before, this only needs to really be torqued at about 8 to 8.5 foot-pounds. There, the dumb thing is in. If you actually want to use a torque wrench on these, I'd go about, 16 foot-pounds maybe. I got one of these fun little apparatuses to fill it up. You might want to burp the system, run it for a little while. Make sure all of the air's out of the engine. I'm just going to put regular global coolant in it. Made for everything. It probably had Dexcool in it, but I really don't care. So I'm just going to fill it up to the full line. That's on the reservoir. And then I'm going to run it for a while and make sure it stays there. Unlike when it came in, it's actually getting hot. That's where the temperature gauge wants to be. I left the level just a hair above the cold line. If I want, I can let it cool down and then see if the cold line is right. It should be pretty close. And this hose right here is hot, which is good. So I know that everything's cycling because this is the highest point in the cooling system. So if this line is cold, you know it's not circulating really well. Heater hoses are really hot. Ouch. And I can grab my thermometer. I can put it on the pipe. I'm at 181 degrees. So this is good. I'm going to call it a job. Okay, bye.